Laura Hensley never cared for the spotlight. After years orchestrating logistics for sprawling freight companies, she craved a quiet life. So, she bought a small house on the edge of a semi-rural neighborhood close enough to highways for convenience, far enough to dodge nosy VY-sighters. The place was modest but clever, perched on a gentle slope with a backyard that opened to a serene VYEW of dense trees and distant hills. Single, childless, and uninterested in small talk, Laura found joy in her rituals. Coffee brewed at dawn, jazz humming through a speaker, and tending her minimalist garden of sculpted gravel, hardy plants, and stones arranged with near-obsessive precision. It was her haven until Diane Kessler moved in next door. Diane was the kind of neighbor who arrived with a clipboard, not a casserole. Sporting a white VY sore and a pastel sweater, she introduced herself within hours of Laura's MOVYing truck pulling away, rattling off community guidelines she'd typed up herself. Her smile was sharp, her eyes too eager, and Laura's gut screamed caution. When Laura politely declined an VYTE to a neighborhood brunch, Diane's warmth flickered, revealing a calculated edge. Laura stayed cordial but distant, determined to keep her peace. Weeks passed, and Laura settled in. She installed motion-activated lights to shoo deer from her grass, their glow oddly poetic against the night. Her backyard became a canvas of calm, with stone paths she rearranged weekly and a sleek mirror sculpture that glinted in the sun. But Diane noticed everything. Laura caught her pausing by the 6-foot fensicarcoal-stained bamboo. Laura had finished herself peering over, trying to decode the mirror's purpose. It wasn't meant to provoke, but Diane took it personally. Then the notes started. Slips of paper wedged in Laura's doorframe. Your lights flash at odd hours. That reflective thing could be a hazard. One even included a diagram suggesting better fence alignment. Laura ignored them until a hand-drawn map appeared taped to her mailbox. She fired back with a typed reply. My property complies with all laws. Please stop Leah VYing notes. It didn't work. One afternoon, while watering her succulents, Laura heard a scrape. She crept around her house and spotted a ladder propped against the fence. A white sneaker appeared, then Diane's pastel pants. Binoculars in hand, Diane leaned too far and crash-tumbled backward with a yelp, landing in a heap. Laura rushed over. Diane, arm twisted, face red, demanded Laura call 911, claiming she'd fallen while checking for hazards. Laura complied, saying nothing as paramedics carted Diane away. The medic's skeptical glance said he didn't buy Diane's story either. Laura assumed embarrassment would stop Diane. She was wrong. 3 days later, a lawyer's letter arrived, claiming Laura's fence caused unsafe conditions, leading to Diane's injury. Laura didn't flinch. She scanned the letter, consulted a lawyer friend, and gathered EVY Denke. Fence permits, zoning maps, doorbell footage. The law was on her side, but Diane wasn't playing by rules, she was playing with obsession. At night, Laura heard footsteps near her gate, always stopping short of the lights. She found twigs, seed packets, even a wire hook jabbed through the fence, as if Diane were fishing for secrets. Laura didn't play games, she built systems. She ordered one-way mirror panels clear from her side, a reflective wall from outside. Contractors installed them under secrecy, transforming her yard into a fortress of calm. Diane raged, calling it aggressive and unnatural. Laura's only reply, I'm within my rights, and you're out of my VYEW. The fence became a mirror to Diane's frustration, reflecting her own fury back. But Diane doubled down. A certified letter accused Laura of causing mental anguish with her disorienting fence. Then came a humming DVYC, a low-frequency emitter hidden in Laura's yard, meant to unnerve. Laura found it, filed a harassment report, and kept documenting. When packages vanished from her smart locker later spotted in Diane's garage by a neighbor, Ellen Laura added theft to the list. A note pinned to the fence with a thumbtack read, You're not in V. Wine Seibel. Things will balance out. Laura's jaw tightened. This wasn't annoyance anymore. It was war. Diane's tactics grew bolder. She filed complaints with animal control, claiming the fence trapped wildlife. Sanitation officers arrived, citing hazardous materials. Laura met each with permits and proof, but the pressure mounted. Then Diane hacked Laura's guest Wi-Fi, probing her network. Laura shut it down, but the violation stung. Her lawyer drafted an injunction, and Laura installed sensors and cameras, turning her yard into a silent sentinel. When Diane's complaints reached Laura's boss, questioning her mental wellness, Laura calmly dead her denke, quashing the issue. But the line had been crossed. The injunction hit Diane like a slap. Served by a deputy, she went quiet. Laura sensed a storm brewing. One night, a car alarm blared, then a sensor tripped. Cameras caught a figure skulking along the fence, fleeing when floodlights blazed. Days later, Diane struck again, prying open Laura's shed with a crowbar. The lights caught her mid-act, eyes wide, a tote bag stuffed with bolt cutters and spray paint at her feet. She bolted, but Laura had the footage. Police filed charges: trespassing, property damage, violating the injunction. Diane's world began to crumble. Her house went dark. Curtains stayed shut. A realtor's sign appeared, then vanished. Movers came and went. Diane was gone, leaving silence in her wake. At the hearing, Laura sat composed as the judge granted a permanent protective order. No drama, just finality. Back home, Laura stood by her fence, now a symbol of her resolve. She added a second, hidden fence matte black, soundproof sealing her sanctuary. Ellen left lemons and a note. "You handled it better than I could." Laura squeezed the juice, savoring the quiet. Months later, Laura sat on her porch, tea in hand, her dog at her feet. The fence caught the sunset, turning the yard gold. A brass plaque by the gate read, "Some watch, others build. Choose wisely." Peace wasn't a gift. It was a choice she'd defended, step by calculated step. The neighborhood hummed again, birds win life. Laura didn't tear down the fence. It wasn't about fear anymore. It was about knowing where she stood and guarding it fiercely. So what do you think? Was Laura's mirrored fence a brilliant defense, or an escalation that fueled the feud? Should she have confronted Diane directly instead of going legal? Was Diane a VY lane, or just a lonely woman lost in her own story? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if this gripped you, and subscribe for more stories that make you question everything. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story on Store of Good Stories. If this story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to hit like and share the video to spread this positive message to more people. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the meaningful stories we share every week. Your support is the biggest motivation for Store of Good Stories to keep bringing heartfelt and valuable stories to you. See you in the next video.